Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ESPN's Football Forecast with myself, James Alcott, and my good friend Hugh Woozencroft. We're going to go through all the big games this weekend, and there are some crackers. We're not going to mess about, straight into it with what I think is probably the biggest game of the season so far. Chelsea versus Man City, 12:30 on Saturday, which is a little bit disappointing, I've got to be honest. But that doesn't take away from just how important this game is, Hugh. It's massive, isn't it?
It's huge, and I think it's bigger for Manchester City. Just given the way they've started this season, you've got to remember they've got a huge week as well, Manchester City. And if they've got PSG in the Champions League after this, then they've got Liverpool. Imagine they lose to Chelsea and then lose to Liverpool. If Manchester United and Liverpool win their games during that period of time, and Chelsea too, there would be 9 points behind United, Liverpool, and Chelsea at this early stage in the Premier League. So it's a vital week for them. I think maybe in terms of the title itself, this fixture is the most vital because Chelsea look outstanding right now. And I think you've got to be honest and say they are the Premier League favourites. Manchester City, of course, defending champions, won't want to get too far behind them. At the moment, they look virtually impenetrable. So I think it's a huge game. In particular, it's a huge game for Pep Guardiola. Remember, the last 3 meetings between Chelsea and Manchester City have been won by Thomas Tuchel's side. And for me, he's got the number over Pep Guardiola. He's rattled him. Doesn't matter what, I don't know how he's done it, but for some reason, every time they go into a game, it seems like Pep Guardiola has some kind of tactical tweak to try and get past Thomas Tuchel's side, and they haven't yet worked. So I think the managers are massive in this game. What do you think?
I think that's spot on, Hugh, because I think more so than probably any other teams probably in world football right now, this is one where it's almost a computer game in terms of the two managers being able to do whatever they want with the teams that they have, because the quality of the players is just so high. You're right. It's interesting. Pep Guardiola's lost to Chelsea more so than any other opponent in his managerial career, 8 times. And you're right. That Champions League final in particular, and even the game before that, Man City made so many changes. I think probably due to Champions League. But Chelsea just somehow had their number. Same goes if we go a little bit further back with that FA Cup semi-final. So I think we go into it with the feeling that he's got something on Guardiola massively. And when it comes to the game itself, Chelsea are fit and firing as well. And looking forward, Chelsea have a lovely run of games coming up. These 2 tough ones, supposedly the Spurs game is supposed to be a difficult one, and then Man City. But after that, it's a lovely run for them. So for a Man City side that, let's forget about winning the title at the moment. They're not above Brighton at the moment. They're not in the Champions League places at the moment. They really need to make a mark here and win the game. Do you think Kevin De Bruyne, who's not really featured that much, played in the week in the League Cup, do you think now's the time to really bring him into the fold for such a huge game?
You have to. On his day, he's the best player in the Premier League for me. The only player that can really, at the moment, say anything about that is Mohamed Salah. And I think Cristiano Ronaldo, although he's only played a few Premier League games back in the English top flight. But I think you have to put someone like De Bruyne in, because at the moment, we have absolutely no idea what Chelsea's weaknesses are. But we know he's got that pass in him. We know he's got that goal in him, something really special. Of course, he's not 100% fit and firing, and there are loads of great players in the Manchester City squad. But as I say, on his day alone, Kevin De Bruyne can break down one of the best teams in Europe, and you've got to hope that he brings you something special. There are a lot of other players in Manchester City's team capable of something special, and I think maybe they're clinging on for something special in this game, because I find it virtually impossible to describe to you what Chelsea's weaknesses are right now and how they can be broken down, how a side is going to go and beat them. They look virtually impossible to score against, and they look virtually unstoppable in terms of scoring goals at the other end of the pitch. Romelu Lukaku already making that instant impact, but in their last game, players from all around the pitch chipping in with goals, defenders as well. And that's what you want if you're going to be a title-winning side. It's been a fantastic start so far. I don't know how you see it, whether you think there is a plan for Pep Guardiola to go to Stamford Bridge and be able to get a win. I think he needs a win. It's not a must-win game, but I think it would be a huge statement if he could go to Stamford Bridge and win psychologically in terms of that title race. I think a point is perfectly fine for Manchester City, but even that, as far as I'm concerned right now, it's going to be difficult for them. Where are Chelsea's weaknesses? You tell me.
I think, well, when I do think about it, it's one of those where I think we see in boxing sometimes. Someone looks great, looks impenetrable, and then they reach, to face a team that's at a certain level, and you go, "Oh wow, there it is. There's the weakness." And for me, I wonder if that's Marcus Alonso on that left-hand side for them going forward. He's almost playing like a winger and a striker at the moment. I mean, he's been outrageous in terms of that side of it. The amount of times he was getting in the box against Spurs last week was fantastic. But against Man City, I wonder, and this is quite alien by Man City to sort of really focus down that right-hand side. But I wonder if there's an area there where you can hurt them. The last couple of games, Rudiger's, no one's really sort of touching a glove on him at the moment because I don't know why, to be honest. They don't seem to want to focus down that side. I think it's because often in Premier League teams, your best player is that left-sided player. You know, Spurs, Son, Zaha for Palace, Man City, it's often that left-hand side again with Grealish and Silva. So I wonder if there's something that can be done there on that right-hand side, maybe the use of Foden, the use of Sterling. Mahrez, of course, has had, they've got enough players. We know that. So I wonder if that is the weakness. I think the midfield battle is going to be huge as well because you've probably got the two most sought-after midfielders in the game in De Bruyne and Kante, who was rested but then came on and made such an impact in that game against Spurs as well. So I think that might be sort of a hot spot, the Alonso side of it. But me saying this on camera is incredibly dangerous because we know what's going to happen now. He's going to go down the other end and score a goal for Chelsea. One final question through the middle for Chelsea. It's been Lukaku, Mount, and Havertz. Mount got taken off in that last game. Do you see it being the same front three, or do you think there might be a space for Werner, who's been quite impressive in games against Man City?
I think you've got to bring Timo Werner in for this game. He showed, just coming off the bench and linking up with Romelu Lukaku, that I think that could be a pretty potent combination. I was messaging friends during the game. I was like, I don't get why Kai Havertz is still on the pitch. And actually, he was substituted about a minute later, but it felt like he was having absolutely no impact, and it was almost like Chelsea were playing with 10 men. He just doesn't seem to have that rhythm going with Romelu Lukaku yet. But the thing that Timo Werner has is that power, that drive, that speed, that ability to get in behind and help stretch play and support through the middle by charging into the area where Romelu Lukaku is. He can also get the ball out wide. Havertz was just floating around a little bit. It would surprise me massively if he starts this game. Werner, I think, probably deserves it. And the other thing is, even though he went through on goal, he had a bad touch, probably should have scored. It felt like there was more danger when Werner was on the pitch. It just did. It just felt like...
Yeah, I know, but this happens. It's happened for 2 years now. I'm waiting on the Werner thing because you spend that kind of money, he scores those amount of goals. Surely there's a play in there. But every time I watch him, he's terrible. I'm sorry. Again, I'm going to get done. He will score as well. It's going to be a 2-0 win for Chelsea, Werner and Alonso. But his touch is really poor a lot of the time. But I get your point. I think with Chelsea, probably want to be quite vertical, quickly, almost bypass that midfield. You know that Man City are going to have 4-5 players really pushing up when they have possession. So it's just going to be Fernandinho or Rodri. And so if you can play quickly, that's how it was won in Portugal for the Champions League final. Let's get your prediction then. I'm going to back myself both ways. I'm going to sort of even this out. I'm going for a Chelsea win 2-0 and Alonso and Werner to score. That's what I'm going for. What are you going for?
I think Chelsea will win as well, 2-1. I think Manchester City haven't really started the season as well as they would have wanted, saying that they've won 5 of the 7 games that they've played. But I just don't feel like they've got that rhythm. Maybe it's down to a couple of injuries. We know De Bruyne runs the show. Maybe he will be back to his best this weekend and in the coming weeks as well. We'll see. Should be a cracking game, though.
Hi, guys. James Alcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.